use it. You pay somebody to have to write the same code, test it, and figure out if it works. I take it over many times. You're always paid for results, not for programming. Programming means that sending a result, that's fine. But somebody else can go off the shelf and already works for quarter price, the winner.
And you can calculate through. I mean, if you say I'm going to take, if we write the program ourselves from scratch, or from a library, or from some something you start with, and then we're going to write all this ourselves. It's going to take 3 guys a year to finish it, and then let's say 4 guys per year to finish this particular project. And then at the end we'll have our results. Well, 4 guys per year, depending on how much you're paid, between $60,000 and $80,000, plus you've got to add 20% overhead for healthcare and all that. So a programmer will cost the company somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 a year. That's what the cost for the programmer is. Now, we just said 4 of those guys were going to work for a year, so that means that the company's going to have to spend $400,000 to have their results, and they won't get the results in a year, or they won't get the results until a year. They'll also have risk factors, because what happens if it goes over budget? What happens if it doesn't work quite right? So now maybe the risk factor is an extra $100,000. Would you pay $500,000 today for a solution that does 90% of what you want, or do you pay $400,000 to 4 guys to program it for a year to a solution that may or may not do what you want? Well, unfortunately, many companies decide, because the programmers are Benjamin, oh, pay us all for a year, we want to keep our job. And a lot of guys do that. I mean, who wants to say, I don't need a job, take the money you're going to spend on my salary and buy it today instead of pay for me. But as Christians before God, who are trying to be moral and honest, if we know a solution is available, do we tell our boss a solution is available today? Or do we, go for the, well, I'd rather have a job and I'll learn a new language by the time I'm done and I can get another job, because I'll start looking for one in 6 months and I'll be high and dry. Unfortunately, many times, right, it's the second one. We're going to lie, and I say lie. We're going to exaggerate and come down on the side of building it ourselves so that we can keep our friends and ourselves employed, instead of being truthful and say, oh, by the way, you could actually buy this thing. And so those are other parts of software engineering. I mean, this class is find a way to make it most effective with the highest probability of success for the company.
Yeah, in a sense, we have a built-in conflict of interest as programmers, right?
We definitely have a built-in conflict of interest.
And, and of course, one of the rationalizations is, well, I can do it better. And another one is, well, we'll end up with something we own and then we can make a lot of money off of it. And maybe those things are true, maybe not. It's, you have to do the diligence of deciding if you're really doing the right thing and not just looking out for yourself. Because in a sense, when you work for somebody, they're paying you to look after their interests. And you have to do that if you're ethically going to be doing the job that you should be doing. And of course, in this class, you don't have that really, because we're not paying you. I really want you to do good work, and if you're not doing the best work you can do, it's going to be presumably seen in your grade. Now that being said, there is possibilities that some of these projects may be fundable after this school year,
the last 2 software engineering classes, at least one person got a full-time job out of that for a while, because they took the work we did, that the class did, rather than the former class did, and it was good enough to be able to then continue that work. And I don't know. I mean, we're not promising anything, but we'll have to see, what happens in June, how far along we've gotten, and how well it works, and if there's some money to continue on. Those are a lot of ifs, and I don't want to.
Right, and that's true for both this project and the other project that we're going to hear about later.
I think the important thing is not like you don't have a program across that way, but we used to always say that, a phrase about the secret sauce. If you could take some code and it's sort of generic and it does what you need, and then applies and make changes to make it better for your company, that's much better than write the whole thing. So a lot of times it's saying, what do you have to write, not doing the whole thing.
And the end product could be 98% off the shelf, 2% code you wrote.
Right.
And that 2% is,
That's what differentiates you from the other company. Because the other thing, if you take the same code somebody else has, and they can do the same thing you're doing. So it's how you differentiate your company. That's what I focus on, is how the company's differentiated, not having to write. Years ago, one of the things I was involved with 20-some years ago was writing the town's a very sophisticated text search engine. When now you can receive or something that's off the shelf, you can deal with it's open source. But in 1982, there was no such thing that did that. And so we wrote a really sophisticated text search algorithm. It's spent a lot of time involved. We're still using it 27 years later. And now they're stuck because it does so much stuff specific what we want to do. It's hard to put it in a generic one. So now it was really an advantage 27 years ago as a disadvantage today. And everybody's struggling now. We spent a lot of time writing that search engine because we didn't exist at the time. Now, Google, or in a sense, big as Google, but you can buy stuff off the shelf.
Anything else?
I guess just to clarify that we will be providing you guys with the content that we want you to try to, I think it'll be a lot clearer when you see the content, and then you'll be able to say, okay, how do I take this lesson, activity of Second Life, make it the best? I think we're talking kind of in vague terms because we're talking about something that you haven't seen yet, but I think it'll be more clear then.
So mechanically for the Second Life project is you would need to go on to secondlife.com, create an avatar. It would be nice and helpful if the first name, the avatars are the first and last name. It would be nice and helpful if the first name was your real name, because we don't, at least I have a hard time keeping all your names straight as it is, and so that would be nice.
Can you do that?
Oh yeah, your first name is your own name. Your second name, they give you a selection of about 20 or 30 last names. If there is a button, which I didn't realize until later after I created the first avatar. There's a button where you can go and say, search again, then you give it another 30 names, search again, you give it another 30 last names. But at some point you give up and you just say, okay, I'm just going to pick one of these. So the last names are a pick list, the first names is a text field. The other thing is that when your avatar is walking around Second Life, you would join certain groups, like I forget your training group.
NCI, which is the building group.
What is it called?
New Citizens Incorporated.
Incorporated is a group where you can join to get training. Dr. Scott and I were on another group called Happy Hippo, which was very interesting, and that was a good little group. And they had a very interesting looking classroom. However, it would be, I think, it wouldn't be very good for 13, 15-year-olds. I mean, it was just kind of intimidating. And I mean, the professor was up on a 30-foot pillar with a throne and some kind of a, looking like he's some, Moses or something. And that's definitely not the best way to present material to kids in this kind of context. But you'll be joining groups, and I don't know, you'll probably be a member of YFC Island. Will that be on their avatars profile?
Well, you should write, my name on the main grid is Christy Justice, Christy Justice. And so if you create an avatar because you're interested in this project, there's a search bar, find me, find my profile, send me a friend request. And then I can help you in-world, show you some things and help you find the groups that you need to join and send you invitations